Welcome everyone to the lifepurpose.com podcast. My name is Hema Ullman and I have a beautiful guest today. Her name is Kristina Day, and Kristina Day calls herself a Neo-Shamanic healer and a New Earth leader who specifically focuses on raising human consciousness. And she does that by guiding Starseeds, Lightworkers, and other heart-centered individuals to release their past conditioning, their wounds, and their programming in order for them to realign back with their soul path and so that they can start acting on their soul mission. And Kristina is also an online course creator, an event facilitator, and a soul business strategist. And yes, let's bring her on. Kristina, thank you for being here. Hello and welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Hema, for introduction and for having me here.
It is great to have you here. I believe you have a lot of wisdom, a lot of insights and information and activations, as you like to say, for our audience and for those listening and watching us who are ready to unleash their purpose and to activate their remembrance of their soul's purpose and why they decided to be here on earth at this time. It's a very special time and no soul is here by accident, right? And it's time that the remembrance of our purpose comes back. And yes, I want to go right into the interview questions. And the first question I have for you, Kristina, is can you share a little bit more about your journey into becoming what you call a new shamanic healer and a new earth leader? And first, what do these two terms mean to you? Like, what does the neo-shamanic healer mean to you? And what does the new earth leader mean to you? And second, what inspired you to take on this path?
Yeah, those are great questions. I'm gonna try to answer those without, going too deep for half an hour, just a long question. But
Let's just start with because I know there are like 2 or 3 questions all at once. So let's just start with the first part of it. Can you share a little bit about your journey into becoming what you call a new shamanic healer and a new earth leader?
mhm. um, yeah, I feel I will actually give a little bit brief of what do those labels mean, so that I can give a little bit of my story. So the new earth leader for me is not about what I do, but rather who you be, right? Who I am. Because for me, when I started my journey of, supporting other people and showing up online and sharing my gifts, I remember I really had not a struggle, but resistance towards any of the labels, a coach or mentor or whatever, a teacher. I did not feel that what I do, which is supporting people with consciousness and energetics and insights into their psyche, I did not feel that coach is cutting it or anything like this. And honestly, I'm not here, as a vessel of light, to handhold anyone's hand or tell them what to do. And it's just at some point just like daunted to me, like what I am here to do is to lead way to the new earth. And it's expressing not by what I do, but who I am, right? I am a leader. I have leadership. Um, on the unconscious level, that's who I am. And the values, where do I lead people? I want to lead them to the new earth, and new earth is basically unity. It's a era of peace and prosperity where we are all in unification and connected with who we are beyond the third dimension. So that's the new earth leader. It's basically showing people that there's another way of being that is more easeful, graceful, and joyful. And the neo-shamanic healer, uh, that one is more about what I do, kind of the skills. Um, so just what is neo-shamanism, in difference from regular shamanism, usually shamans, they work with energy of the mother of the earth, right? So they're very like grounded. Neo-shamanic, this neo just means new. So it's a new way of shamanism. And the difference here is that we work with the energies both of Mother Gaia, the mother consciousness, and the father consciousness, right? So it's both connecting and bringing, again, in unification and balance, higher source consciousness, the galactics, but also remembering that we are here on the earth plane. So being a neo-shamanic healer, for me, how in a practical way, I've been doing human hologram, healing human hologram for a while. So it's basically an energy surgery where I work with different parts of the light body of people and literally perform like a surgery. So it might be pulling out an emotion from an organ, restructuring organs, pulling out stress webs from the bodies, and so on and so forth, and returning that back to the natural flow so the energy can actually flow how it's supposed to flow versus when we have like crooked chakras or trauma has influenced our hologram. Hence, if there's like a blocked energy or trauma or fragmentation, it will continue to pull in the same experience because it's emanating from our field, and it's going to call in the patterns. So, right, it's about removing that so that you can be a vessel of light. So, yeah, I've been doing that and together with my light language, right, which has been coming through in those sessions. That's what I've been doing for a while. But now I also have transitioned and doing it more in a group setting, in facilitation, specifically, yeah, supporting people for remembering, oh, I want to find my life purpose, why I'm here, and so on. So really people who are stepping into that level of leadership, they're just at the beginning of it. Um, so that's in a nutshell, those two labels. And I kind of feel I answered what I do. And, what set me on this path is that, even as a child, I started early to learn about law of attraction, laws of the universe, human behavior, and so on and so forth. Um, so I started a lot as self-taught. Um, and I feel I never truly fell asleep, into the mass hypnosis. This is why I awakened quite early. Um, but obviously, there was a significant part and chunk of time where my shadow started to come up, and for me, the initiation was through starting my online business, right? And then it was like, oh, can I actually support people? Who will listen to me? I don't know how to make money, yada, yada, yada. And all of that, undoing layers and layers and years of conditioning from my ancestors, from the culture, from school, from family, and so on. So, a lot of what I teach is actually based on my real life experience and from this lifetime, and obviously other lifetimes that also have, fed me the wisdom.
What inspired you specifically to take on this path of what you call a new shamanic healer and a new earth leader? Could you name perhaps 3 to 5 examples? What inspired you to take on this path?
For me, I don't think that there was a moment of inspiration. As long as I remember myself, even as a kid, I knew I'm here to help people. It was my biggest desire to be like on the stages and speak in front of the people. It wasn't something, oh, that will be nice, or someone is doing something that is nice. No, for me, I was always not looking at the external world for inspiration, but what do I want to do? What, what is my ignition that's coming from the inside? So I think it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint, but probably it's again seeing the poverty of my culture, seeing the suffering in my family, seeing and just seeing how purposeless people feel. And I, always been thinking, why does this tree exist? Why this planet exists? Why everything exists? So it's always kind of the hunger, so to speak, but it's like curiosity. But I was also surprised how like no one else is asking these questions. Like everyone is just happy going to their job and no one actually cares. So it kind of made me realize, wow, people are so disconnected from themselves. They don't even care or think about bigger things than just to make the ends meet, right? That's the environment that I grew up in. So yeah, probably it's just seeing the poverty, the suffering, the disconnection, um, an internal, you know, just people not being happy. What kind of was like, okay, I really need to make a difference. I'm definitely not going that path. So yeah, I kind of started figuring out myself. But then, as I developed, even 6 years ago, I wouldn't even think that I will do what I'm doing. So it's more of like the more I started helping people and supporting them, I the more the need and the specification of like specific direction niching down for my purpose or soul mission started to reveal itself, right? I understood, oh, people are struggling with self-doubt, with people pleasing. That's why they're not able to show up in their expertise and gifts, or people are so um, traumatized they're not able to connect with their psychic abilities or their heart because they're there's a lot of pain that needs to be released. So it's more about, yeah, my internal desire that guided me, but then the higher guidance and real life people that showed me where to go.
Thank you for that beautiful answer. I can relate to a lot to what you were sharing. From your experiences that you have with clients and with people that you connect with, and you provide some examples of the most common challenges or obstacles that people face when they try to align with their soul purpose, and how do you assist them in overcoming these challenges?
Yeah, totally. So, couple of the most common ones, and they're really the ones that are coming up the first, including to myself, is, basically, who am I? I'm not good enough. I don't know how. People pleasing, um, self-doubt, right? So it's basically the conditioning that we have received a lot through educational system, right? Where we constantly have compared ourselves. So now when you need to go onto the, your soul path and it's only you and you need to take radical responsibility, reconnect with your intuition so that you are able to receive higher guidance. Most people are not able to do this because the way how they operate, how their brain have been attuned for the most of their life was attuning themselves and molding themselves to please the external world, right? When you are a new earth leader, a mission soul who is here to pave the way to a new way of being, of course, you don't have a point of reference to do that. So not only it is challenging because you're doing something new, but also because it haven't been done before on a grander scale on our planet. So, you know, those things, I'm not good enough, I don't know how. So that all of that, it needs to go as soon as possible, because if you're not able to release that, there's no way you're going to hear your heart. There's no way you're going to be self-assured to follow through on your inspired ideas that spirit drops into your consciousness. So those are just some of the like the main ones, and how I support people with releasing those. As for quite a while, I have been doing the one-on-one sessions, the mentorship. I've been holding group sessions. At some point, I had my membership, Leaders of Light, which is now like a pre-recorded library of many activations and sessions. And then I also have a lot of different courses. The biggest one is Free Your Shadow, which actually teaches how to release suppressed emotions, how to work with your inner child, with your ego self, and so on and so forth. Because people need to learn how to be comfortable, to go into the shadows of the unconscious and shine light, shine awareness to it. Because when we look at it and we realize, oh, all those parts are just needing attention and love and affection, which I did not receive in the childhood or maybe past lifetimes. And when we're able to release it, we realize, man, there's nothing wrong with me. And it's not that scary. And I've been whole and complete the whole way. It's just the world that, kind of traumatized us because we have, as a soul, we are coming from pure consciousness, from being whole and complete, and then land here in third dimensional Earth where everyone is like, no, something is wrong with you, blah, blah.
Yeah. Mm.
So we need to release that to remember who we are as a, infinite soul, source of expression of source consciousness, right? Um, so yes, and those are the ways that I have been really doing in the past. And now myself, I'm in transitional moment where I'm more shifting into event facilitation, retreats, and I'm also just finished my ecstatic dance DJ training. So I'm gonna be hosting.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm having my first event, which I'm collaborating with someone, and she does light language, so it's incredible. In 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm shifting more into, okay, shadows, we need to clear that, but what after that, right? Once we know we're whole and complete, once we release the major densities and conditioning, then it's about activation, then it's about operating, then it's about actually bringing those higher ways of living from higher dimensions and realms down. It's about anchoring it. That's how the new earth is going to come. We need to be the pure vessels, to be the channels for that frequency, for that way of being. So this is the area, the stage where I'm shifting now. How do we shape and influence life, not from because something is, hurting, but because I'm inspired, because I desire something, because it's exciting and juicy and overflowing. So that's kind of the frequency I'm shifting into more to support people to, feel how amazing life can be. And it's not just about the suffering and the pain and endless healing.
Mm. Yeah, beautifully said. And especially with dance and ecstatic dance, it is one of the best ways to ground the higher frequencies into your body.
Yeah, exactly.
I can
I
totally
blend
relate.
dance so much.
Yeah, for sure. So, how did you know that this path and this journey that you were on was the path of your life's purpose?
Yeah, I think it's just knowing. For me, it's just knowing because one of my psychic abilities, claircognizance, for me personally. So claircognizance means just pure knowing. And often, those who are claircognizant, they're like, how do I know? They doubt themselves the most because they don't have a reference point. I just made it up, But for me, it's just like internal knowing, internal alignment. Like no matter what I'm gonna do in the future, I'm just now trying to think back. There have been so many things that I have done in my past. I've been in IT, in marketing, in fitness, and all those things. And I always kind of were tended to empower people and see the best and inspire them. Hey, you can do this, and so on. So I kind of noticed the overall underlying frequency. No matter what I do, it's always about empowering people, and I wanted to people to win, to see their brilliance in intelligence the same way as I did it, see it in them. Um, and then I also realized that I'm so multi-passionate. There's no way there's gonna be one thing that I'm gonna do, for the rest of my life. So I started asking myself and my spirit guides questions. So what is it? How can I be on purpose, but then stick to my multi-passionism and endless expression? And it was that then the realization came that then it needs to be something, my purpose, that does not change in regardless to what my human does, right? And it was about anchoring the new earth. I realized that I'm not here to conform to the old systems. I'm not here to heal necessarily, or like save anyone. My task is just to be, to show people that there's a new way of being, that they don't have to be in the old systems. And how do I do it? By being the role model and, practicing what I preach and do things in the new way, right? And I show people just by living by example, yes, I love marketing. Yes, I love health. Yes, I love healing. Yes, I love dance and so on and so forth. So no matter if I go 10 years into music or anything else, my purpose is not going to change. And actually, I kind of jump around in different areas and sprinkle those codes of awakening, so to speak, right? So yeah, for me, when I realized it's not about what I do, but who you be, then I thought, oh wow, for someone who is a freedom lover like me, it's extremely hard to find a label to put onto myself. So when I realized, oh wow, this actually internally, I feel it's not gonna ever change because that's what I truly, truly not just want to do. That's who I am. I'm a leader and I'm here to show people that they can be powerful, that they are geniuses and brilliant. And that brings me the highest joy. And I'm not going to stop it at any point. The way how I express it might change, but it's always going to be the same. So when I felt this freedom and kind of relief that I get to be this, then I knew, okay, yeah, no matter what the physical practical things, how I'm doing it, are going to look, I'm just happy to be of service. I'm just happy to empower people. Yeah, so I think it's just really understanding what's your underlying soul frequency, and once you kind of feel that click, oh yes, I want to do it, I want to be this way, that is what your purpose is connected to.
How long would you say did it take you to discover what your purpose is? Or let's say, how long did it take you until you felt the inner knowing that you are living your purpose?
Yeah, well, probably 27 or 26 years of this incarnation.
How old are you now?
Almost 30.
Okay.
So it wasn't that long until I truly felt like, bam, I feel it's truly anchoring in me. As I said, I always kind of had the feeling that I want to help people. I want to be in front of the people. I want to speak, and share my knowledge. But it did feel kind of out too far away. It's out of my reach. I didn't know how, blah, 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 all of the shadows and conditioning, but once I spent um pretty good chunk of time doing the shadow work, which was around 2018, 19, 20, 2020, kind of those 2-3 years, then, it kind of started to register in my brain. And my connection with my spirit guides, with my higher self, started to strengthen, and I started to have more conscious communication and requesting information for them to come and communicate to me. And then, so I would say, so there was like 2-3 years of shadow work when I was like 25, 26, something like this. And then, yeah, the past like 2-3 years, which was from around 27 till now, till like 29, I feel it's been just solidifying and the solidifying. So, you know, in a grand scheme, 26 years just to start kind of realizing, what it is, but really to solidify. And it's like, okay, this is it. Then 2-3 years after the the beginning of the releasing of the major illusion.
Right, right. You're hitting such an important point here because I went through the same experience as you were sharing. It is after you clear the distortions, you clear the illusions that you took on from an unconscious place from the outer world. Once you clear all of that, all of a sudden you're just remembering the purpose of your existence. And it is actually so simple. It's not something that you are like forcing or that you can try to analytically understand. It is just clear and cut all that away that isn't you, that is not your essence. And all of a sudden, there it is, you in your brilliance, you in your purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I love that. Just to add on that, actually, one of other really common things that I notice in people is the spiritual illusion of love and light. And a lot of people try to reach, what's my purpose? What's my light? What's my gift? Yada, yada. And instead of just removing the noise and the trauma and the programming, which is preventing them from hearing and remembering, they're again buying into another, dogma and conditioning that something is outside, right? So it's just from spiritual kind of aspect that it's coming in. So yeah, the as you said, him, it's very, very simple. It's in front of our noses, and we need to remember, understand, we're whole and complete, and it's not about becoming something, but it's releasing who you're not. That's it. It's just a cleanup work, and the rest will start to come back naturally because you are a being of light.
Was there any specific technique or experience that you had that helped you discover your purpose? You were speaking about releasing everything that isn't you. Is there any specific technique or experience that comes to mind that helped you specifically to discover your purpose or realign back to your truth and your purpose?
Um, I would say no, there's not specific thing because we are multidimensional beings. So in order for us to unlock that multidimensionality, we need to do work that is multidimensional. So, it is about clearing up your mental body, emotional body, physical body before you can tap into higher realms. There's no way you're going to just, uninstall your limiting beliefs, but then there's so much trauma in your nervous system. There's so much junk in your digestive system. That's all frequencies those are, frequencies of death and so on. And then like will be much easier, let's say, if we do the cleanup multidimensional, but then, to summarize, this is a one technique. It's basically clear the vessel. And then it's just about reconnecting. And I really was just asking my spirit guides, like, show me, I'm available. But I did the cleanup work before, because I was asking, and I have the one thing to do it, but nothing. I was not registering. I was not able to perceive the realms that are not tangible, right? Because there was so much distortion in my field. So I would say then the number one thing is to just clear the noise from your field. multidimensionality or multidimensionally to basically raise your frequency. And yeah, one of the basic courses that I did is a 5-day frequency reset, which talks about how to reset your mental body, emotional, physical body. And I do some practices there as well. I would say this is the key.
Mm. Yeah, it's purifying yourself.
Mm, yeah, exactly. I love that we kind of spoke about it and then you asked the question.
What would you say, Kristina, were your biggest obstacles in embracing and owning this unique path that you're on? And how did you overcome those biggest obstacles?
Yeah. So I don't think there was an obstacle in me embracing it because, as I said, I always wanted it. Even as a child, I was like, oh, I wish I would have secretly. I was like, I wish I would have psychic abilities, because
Yeah.
actually what I wanted because who I was, right? So there was not much resistance around embracing it, but definitely a lot of unconscious fears
Mm-hmm.
of like for me, my one of my biggest conditionings have been um not being supported, not having financial support, mental support, emotional support, um, and also insignificance because I have huge power that I carry as a spirit, but I've been born into a body of a tiny girl, into a tiny country, into a family that does not have a lot of, power or assertion or being grounded. So for me, a lot of my conditioning was I'm not supported and I will never depend on a man and be like weak and blah, 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 all of that. And then it required me to drastically step into my masculine because I understood if not me, I'm screwed. No one is going to help me. And I'm not buying into the culture of my country or the way of being of my family. So this in a way helped me to, burst through the challenges in terms of like at least start. It helped me to step into my creator consciousness, to step away from the victim into creator that actually life, I'm gonna make it happen. Like through the hustle, but I'm gonna make it happen. And it got me to a certain point. But then at some point when I realized with action, we only can do so much and we are operating only in the 3D with the action.
Oh, wow. Mm.
I realized I need to learn how to let go of that way of being. Then
Say that again. You needed
to learn
how to.
let go of that way of being, the masculine, the grind, the hustle. Because if I wanted to co-create with a higher power, I needed to realize and do a lot of work with my ego. I needed to heal my feminine, my resentment towards the feminine, the resentment towards my family. I needed to heal my masculine, who was so exhausted and trying its best, right? So then it was me shifting from being a creator to co-creator. Actually, I'm co-creating with the universe. It's not me, just little human being. I am supported by the universe, right? So it was like, oh, as a little girl, I believed I'm not supported, and now recalibrating my field and my awareness that, wow, universe is supporting me. I have access to it, and I can work with these invisible realms. But again, this was the point where I started to do deconditioning and releasing of the traumas. But then at some point it shifted and I realized I need to let go of this too, that it's not me and the universe, but I am the universe. I am an expression of the source, right? The humans are the manifestation of source expression, right? We are the source just experiencing itself just to different bandwidths and different frequencies and different levels of consciousness and perspectives. And when I realized that that's who I am, when I started to identify myself with that level of being, like, there's literally, the life becomes so easy. There's no obstacles. I want this, and then it's just attuning myself and my field. Oh, okay, is some more shadows, more some conditioning that I need to release, right? So shadow work, in a such a sense, it never ends, but it's not that I'm searching how to fix myself and all the obstacles. No, if I'm desiring something and there is resistance in my psyche, then it will come into my awareness for me to clear so that I can become an energetical match to what source, universe, whatever you want to call it, is, whispering to me. Hey, Kristina, this is your next path. This is your next direction. This is how we would like to create through you. My job as a human is to clear the distortions that are
Wow.
match.
Wow. This is so powerful. Yes. It's about what source, what the divine wants to co-create through you and by you. And your job as our human self is to clear away any resistances so that it can come into our field, right? And that's how you transcend the, I would also say, the perversion of always doing. This is wow, this is such a key message. We're gonna highlight this. We're really gonna highlight this. And I'm getting also some really some nuggets from this. You were saying, I just wanna go back there to really highlight this point. This is powerful because I believe a lot of people need to hear this part. It's not about the grind, it's not about the hustle, it's not about being overly in your masculine doing energy, which can get so exhausting and so stressful to our bodies and to our psyche. And then people are gonna be like, well, how am I gonna manifest the life that I desire if I don't do anything? Show me the way. What is the way? And um you just scratched on how to overcome that and how to transcend that so beautifully. It's about shifting into a higher awareness by remembering that the divine is always working through you, through your vessel, through your human avatar. And our job as in this human reality on this earth plane is to let go of the conditioning, let go of the resistances towards the creation that wants to be birthed. And once the resistance is clear, it literally just drops into our reality, right?
That
This is a mind hack. This is a mind hack. A lot of people need to hear that, really. This is powerful because this then really allows you to shift from, especially when you are a woman in a woman physical body. A lot of women are, I believe a lot of women, they are overly in their masculine energy um, at this stage of where our planet is and human consciousness. And a lot of women, they're all about the female empowerment, but yet they are living still a lot in the masculine way and in the doership, right? Versus transcending that at one point. I believe at one point, the majority of humans, we're going to come to that stage where we surrender more and we soften. We become more receptive to the divine will, to the divine purpose. And that is how effortless manifestation will come to life on this planet. It's when we allow ourselves to soften and to become more the receptive mode. And that's how the divine manifestations will come to life way more effortlessly and with so much more grace and softness, I believe. This was such
love how the for you, it kind of, the channel opened up and bam, the information just started to flow through you.
Yeah,
Every,
that was something I needed to hear. This was something I needed to hear and to remember. Because I relate with what you were saying about you were overly in your masculine and doing. I've been there too. I've been there too. But now at this stage, and my body as well is telling me there is a different level, and we want you to embody that and to embrace that. And me right now, I'm going through this, like clearing resistances with the masculine energy still and the doing. And I allow myself more and more and more to go into the stillness, to go into the receptive mode and into the effortless simplicity of creation. And this was something for me to really hear once again. Yeah.
yeah, so happy to hear it, Mahema.
So, where are we with the question? Okay. From the time that you knew, and you said you had an inner knowing what your purpose is, from the time you knew what your purpose was, did you have any traumas that you had to heal in order to become the big one that you are now? You were saying that obviously you had shadows and traumas. Um, so, well, this question is actually irrelevant because you already touched on that. But maybe, only maybe, if you want to share more about, was there any specific trauma or any specific traumatic experience that was so big for you that you needed to clear? It's like it was uh, like the big thing, that the big block that you needed to release in order to be who you are today.
Yeah, for sure. I think there are two things that I needed to really release. Well, like I really noticed the drastic shift in my level of consciousness and how I perceive life. Um, One is when I was stepping into the identity of the healer, or just when I was required, so to speak, um, to start creating YouTube channel and starting to put myself out there. I had massive fear of, if I put myself out there, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Somebody is gonna curse me or whatever. And a lot of this trauma is actually what a lot of mission souls are carrying, which is, you know, our traumas of being persecuted, being burned at the stake, um, in past lifetimes. And obviously, this is not the shadow work that is going to be coming up at the beginning of your shadow work when you're just dealing with some not good enoughness or whatever. These are deeply stored in our psyche, in beyond the linear time traumas. And obviously, there was lots of other past lifetimes that I have healed that have somehow influenced my psyche and my self-image, um, how I see myself as an infinite, right? The big one. But I would say, yeah, the fear of putting yourself out there, is so massive for so many, right? And this is almost at the level of inadequacy. You know, why on earth would I have a fear that someone will curse me?
Yeah, the witch's wounds. That's how I call it.
Yeah. So I definitely had to do a lot of, well, processing that grief, that pain. And again, it was coming from multiple prisons, like me maybe feeling resentment that when I did my best, people didn't trust me, or they betrayed me, or when I wanted to help people, they stabbed me in my back, and so on, or did not appreciate me, or the crazy anger that I felt towards the authority figures who were, it's basically like, who do you think that you are to, like, control people? I had a lot of like anger and rage, which I needed to release. Right. So I feel, if we summarize it as a one cloud of information, that was pressing on my consciousness, not allowing me to start to step in fully into my power, fully into this is who I am, this is what I do, like that's it. Because there was a lot of unprocessed stuff. So I will say that's the first thing. Again, we're kind of dealing with the shadows, with the pain when we are speaking about, releasing those aspects of consciousness. But then the second one is, as I said, where I'm shifting. It's not anymore about hustle and grind and endless healing and fixing what's wrong with you, but it's about stepping into new way of being, stepping and receiving those uh, easeful, graceful, new coding, right, from higher dimension realms. And in order for me to start be a vessel for that, I remember I was sitting on the beach in Spain, and incredible, beautiful ocean, and you can feel the abundance of it. And I was there for several weeks, and I didn't. I had no responsibilities in terms of I didn't need to go anywhere. I didn't need to deliver anything. I was completely taken care of. I'm enjoying. I'm surrounded by this abundance, and I catched myself, my psyche feeling so agitated, judging myself that what the hell you're sitting here? Like, go and do something. You need to like you're not afraid that you're not creating anything? Why you're wasting your precious time? You're wasting your potential, blah, 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 all of that. And I realized, oh, wow, I'm actually plugged into, and this is a program that is running through my system, but I'm receiving it from the collective field of the consciousness of humanity. So I literally needed myself to unplug.
How do you unplug?
Through your conscious intention, but in a nutshell, you through your conscious intention you unplug. That's it. I see you. When you are aware of it, it's not anymore in your unconscious, and our intent is all that we need to work with the energetics, right? That's when we have no idea that it is there. We're not able to shift, but your decision, even your thought, it's a frequency on its own, right? So when you're like, that's it, period, I'm done, I'm not available, you release. Obviously, you clear, thank you with gratitude. I see how you served me, yada, yada, yada. But that's not what I want to experience anymore. And then I needed to shift my consciousness and for image or visual purposes, I do imagine like collective grid, like a network, like electricity that is running through the earth, right? Because there's so many ley lines and energetical grids. I imagine myself unplugging, and then I called upon fifth dimensional earth, which has the grids where there's diamond light and plasma and unconditional rose gold frequencies that are running, and then humbly asked permission to plug into those frequencies. I connect with the souls, the children who are bringing the fifth dimensional consciousness here straight away, right? They do not need to go through the conditioning. So I honor that grid. I honor the souls who have created it. And I ask permission to connect because that's what I want to experience. And because I want to be of service to humanity, right? And I see myself how my energetical vessel coming from my Candian, which is our power source, just located below our belly button, through my feet, through my root. I see myself plugging in and merging together through the energetics, right? And again, it doesn't have to be like some rocket science. It's just my conscious intention. No one taught me how to do it. When I became aware of, there's this program that is running and shaping my well-being and how I feel on daily, I'm like, I'm not allowing this to go anymore. Period. I'm a sovereign being. And then because Kristina, I asked myself, what do I want to experience? I want to feel unified. I want to feel at ease. Because I do have already identified myself as a source expression. I have access to anything. I just need to attune myself to it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I just want to highlight this part. I am an expression of source energy and I can attune myself to anything that I intend. This is the power. This is where the power lies. And that's also what I want to highlight here for people to hear. So no matter where you are in your life, you need to remember that part that Kristina was just saying. I am an extension of source energy, and whatever I choose to focus on and whatever my intention is, this is what I call in. This is what I
Yeah.
am to experience. This is about claiming your energy back and your power back. Please continue.
Yeah. And doing the work of attuning that self. When we realize how easy it is, we realize it was never about I'm not good enough. Like, when you know that you're infinite, how can someone measure what's good enough? That you're good enough to connect to that grid and you're not good enough and you're gonna stay in the old narrative. No, it's up to you. If you continue telling yourself the story, then that's it. You're just telling yourself the story. You're too busy telling yourself the story, entertaining the story. Then just be like, no, period. I'm done. I'm walking away.
Right, making that choice. I am done. I'm no longer entertaining this.
Yeah.
And you can influence that really with your focused attention.
Yes. Yeah, so those were my two obstacles. One, releasing major pain from past lifetimes, but then also completely um, making decision. No, I'm not available for the collective unconscious suffering. I'm doing through overflow and joy and bliss. That's how I want and choose to experience life and what I want to anchor in.
Mm. This is also a powerful message for empaths, people who are very empathic. We tend to, constantly be in the collective. We can be constantly in the collective realm and what people are going through as a collective. And I believe empaths in particular, they need to remember that you it's not a curse that you are empathic. It's not a curse that you can tap into what we call the suffering of the masses, but use it as a superpower. And you can still, with your own choice and your own command, plug out and choose a higher timeline, a higher experience for you. And I don't have this question, I didn't prepare this question, but I still want to ask you, um, why do you believe that you are able to tap into the collective suffering, as you were saying, but then you consciously want to tap out of it and connect into a higher realm? So why do you think you have the awareness of tapping into the collective mess, so to speak, if you don't want that?
Yeah. Because honestly, not honestly, actually, when we are born, um, of there has been a lot of interference with human consciousness and alternation of our DNA, and a lot of black magic rituals have been performed by not so built up, good races and entities. So um, it's not that you, by your conscious choice, choose to do it, right? There has been a lot of implants that have been planted and imprinted into our fields without our consent, without our conscious awareness. Um, and well, one, when we're speaking about the grid, as a mission soul, my soul chose to incarnate here, so that in that moment I can have that realization and I can transcend and transmute it, so that I can learn the skill of energetic to shift, right? But that being said, it's either your soul chose to do it, right, so that you can transmute it for others, for your ancestry or whatsoever, or there, just beyond this grid, there has been so many other grids of suffering created and designed like, for example, money slavery grids, right? Where we're just, you're born into this country automatically through your blood. You are anchored into specific grid from which your family have been, performing and operating. You're plugged into the cultural grid of consciousness. So it's not necessarily your conscious choice as a human, but this is where your soul chose to incarnate, obviously, to transmute it and follow to receive the condition.
Right. It's you are born into this. You may be born into specific ways of being and cultural conditioning and how you call it. How do you call it?
Right?
Grids of consciousness. Right.
Yeah.
Grids of consciousness. But it's not for you to be a victim of that, but it's for you to remember your own power and your sovereignty and rise above that and remember who you truly are as a divine source being.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say is your biggest challenge, if you have one, with your purpose as of right now?
Yeah, good question. At this point, I don't see anything in my life as a challenge, but rather opportunity to do something. But I think for me, somebody whose mind is like running 1,000 miles per hour, for me, it's matter of not stretching myself because it's not just me. It's like Starseeds, Lightworkers. We're receiving all of those downloads and insights and remembering the ways of being, how we've been in other, ages, golden age, on the planet, of the planet, different races, planets, and so on. And we're receiving this information, which inspires us to do something, create new educations and create this and do this and this and this. For me, the challenge is having so many ideas and desires and inspirations to create something that it's physically, humanly not possible to act on all of it in this moment now as I'm receiving it. So it's a matter of realizing that the information that is coming to me now might be for me to act on in 10 years from now, is just like planting the seeds now. And also then, yeah, managing and prioritizing what are the things that I'm acting on and building and following through on now. So yeah, it's like a lesson of patience and, remembering how many there's density in this human body. So be okay with things taking time and being slow.
Mm. I can relate to that too. How do you envision the role of what we call star seeds and light workers in shaping the future of our planet and humanity's consciousness in the years ahead and in the decades ahead?
Yeah, well, for me, it is definitely that Starseeds and Lightworkers, they're here to anchor a new way of being. And it's gonna be, and it's already being expressed in all different areas and all walks of life. Star seeds. This is why we're being thrown around across the planet. Like small seeds and planted. But yeah, for sure, I honestly feel you kind of answered. There was a part of the answering your question that the main role that we're playing is raising the consciousness, because when you help someone to see or perceive more, when they are aware, then they can make an educated, sovereign choice. And most of us, we're not bad humans. We're just been experienced a lot in pain and trauma and suffering. So if we expand our consciousness and we're able to see those parts of us, again, it's coming back to the shadow work and expressing love to those parts that need. When we release that, we start to return to our default state of being, which is unconditional love, right? So it's about star seeds anchoring new way of being, building the new systems, but it's also about, Starseeds and light workers not fitting into the old system, triggering the hell out of the people right? So that people can actually start become aware of their own limitations, right? So, and at the beginning, of course, the first wave of volunteers, the second, the third, will feel lonely, will feel like black sheep, and so on and so forth. But as the years go on, more and more people become awake, aware. More and more of them remember they are themselves starseeds. So, you know, in a such a sense, I see that, starseeds that are here now, they're just helping those souls that kind of got stuck and sucked in. But yeah, it's just helping to return back to heart consciousness, unity consciousness. And I believe, that a good chunk of people, but by 2050, we definitely will have more than half of the population in super consciousness level, which is unity consciousness.
Mm. So, for our audience and everyone who is listening to this recording that thinks that your purpose is what they would like to do or something similar to what you're doing, is there any piece of advice that you can share on getting started?
Yeah, I think the key main thing is stop looking in the external world. The external world has no capacity to tell you what's right for you, who you are. The only way is going inward, listening, because it's all here waiting for you to listen, right? So this is kind of similar, simple navigation, but then just doing the shadow work. And as you do the shadow work, you will start to notice the patterns, the underlying frequency of your suffering, because typically our purpose is connected to our shadows. Again, as I touched on, you choose to incarnate here to receive this specific conditioning, to learn how to transmute it, then to become, quote unquote, an expert in this specific area, to pass on this knowledge and wisdom to other people.
Mm.
Right. So for me, again, as I said, I needed to go through a shit show, so to speak, get myself out of it, out of the masculine and hustle and all of that, and believing that I'm not supported, then to reflect. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the typical trajectory. What I've been following is I really needed to learn how to step into my personal power at the beginning as a human being. Let's make stuff happen. But then as a big one, as an infinite one, I needed to remember that layer of power. And now that's what I help people with. But you know, even as a 12-year-old girl, I always wanted to help people, inspire, give them that energy. It was always present with me.
Mm.
uh, just at that point as a child, I did not understand it. So what I'm saying, tune in into your frequency. What is that underlying frequency that you emanate of who you are, right? If everything is stripped away, who you be,
Mm.
right? For me, it's power, leadership, assertion, self-expression. That's it, right? And those are the frequencies that your purpose is connected to.
Right. Yes. Your purpose is connected to the highest frequencies that we can experience, that we all desire to experience, to bliss, to joy, to unity, to friendship, to connection, to wealth, to abundance. And yeah, it's when you're really in your truth, you're emanating the divine abundant frequency naturally, which is your richness. And richness is your birthright. Just want to add.
Yeah, exactly.
So lastly, Kristina, our last question for today. What advice would you give to individuals who are just beginning to explore their spiritual path and are just remembering their spirituality and purpose and are looking to make a positive impact on the world?
I think self-compassion, acceptance, you know, uh, accepting where you are, because I find a lot of people, they judge themselves. I'm not making enough of an impact. I want this. So accepting where you are, making peace with it, so that you can actually follow through from a place of alignment rather than fear or scarcity. Compassion, being compassionate to yourself for the journey you had in this incarnation and your experiences, and that, the vision that you're trying to build, bring, may not always go the way you want it to go. And being compassionate to yourself if you're failing, because it's never a failure. It's you're getting better, you're getting closer, right? But it's important, again, to be compassionate to yourself and not to judge yourself, because you're just making the things worse, right? I've seen it in my clients, in my friends, and myself, so many times. It's just like really about um, the present moment, so that you can create from that present moment, from place of ease and receptivity, rather from your unconscious conditioning, which is judgment and all of that mess that we received as children. uh, Going inwards, as I already said, because so many are chasing the external light, um, and then surrounding yourself with the people who are playing it out at the level that you want to be playing it out, or at least start surrounding yourself with that frequency through the people, right? So for example, for me, I always wanted to make a difference on a global level. So I really, it took me time to start getting in a room with people who are actually making a difference on a global scale. So in the beginning, I started with just, hanging out with the healers, and then becoming healer myself, and, and coaches. So it's steps by step, gradual process. But the more you hang out with those people, the more you embody those frequencies. So again, self-compassion and patience.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kristina, for sharing from your own journey, your own experience, your nuggets of wisdom. Really appreciate it, and grateful to have you on today. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Hema, for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in into the frequency. And yeah, remember, the fact that you guys who are listening, you are matched to this frequency, to this interview. It's just showcases how close you are to stepping into your personal power, following through on your life's purpose, your soul mission. And yeah, I'm celebrating you for that. So I hope.
Yes, we are celebrating everyone listening. Until next time.
Bye.